Bilderberg is split about Donald Trump's future. This year's Bilderberg conference in Chantilly, Virginia from June 1st till June 4th may very well decide Donald Trump's future. Impeachment, open battle, or a new way of living with the establishment are all on the table. Now, during the campaign, the big gimmick was the man of the people draining the swamp, but in reality, the picture is much more complex, as demonstrated by the split view on Trump amongst the members of the powerful Bilderberg group. Now, some big regular names that are unhappy with Trump or neutral are, for example, Banco Santander, Evercore, the European Central Bank, Lazard, the IMF, most media like the Washington Post. And Royal Dutch Shell supports Ivanka Trump's push to stay in the Paris climate deal. But there are also movers and shakers in Bilderberg who like Trump and actually work with him on a regular basis. First and foremost, we have Henry Kissinger. Kissinger Associates, the almost fossilized granddaddy of Bilderberg, has been pulling some strings from the shadows, brokering stuff between Trump and the Chinese, advising Trump regularly in foreign policy, and even infiltrating Trump's national security team through agents like Katie McFarland. Now, when that stuff came out, the Republican establishment was rather happy about it because Trump was seen as a beginner, and of course, Henry Kissinger is seen as the man in the shadows who knows his stuff. So this is the story here from Quartz.com. At 93, Henry Kissinger is still doing deals and courting controversy in China. And then we have this story here. Kissinger is the dark side of Trump in Syria. So he's kind of the hawk in the shadows. Then we have the CFR. CFR, of course, linked to Bilderberg in many ways, and generally the CFR-controlled press is going back and forth between neutral and negative about Trump. And then we have Foreign Policy Magazine, one of the biggest CFR rags out there, and that one is on the extreme end of negative, but there's also powerful CFR members in Trump's administration. I have this story here from the New American. Some of Trump's picks have troubling links to globalism and the CFR. And I quote, "In fact, with his recent selection of Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster as National Security Advisor and Judge Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court, both of whom have been listed as members of the establishment globalist swamp known as the Council on Foreign Relations, concerns are growing even among Trump supporters and grassroots conservative activists. There were already several CFR-linked officials before the latest additions, the very same forces that viciously libeled and attacked him in their failed bid to stop the swamp draining." So, CFR, the CFR links Bilderberg and Donald Trump. Then we have Goldman Sachs. Now, Peter Sutherland might be getting old, but in some shape or form, Goldman Sachs will always be represented at Bilderberg. And even back in January, the MSNBC reported here, Trump announces 5th high-profile hire from Goldman Sachs. So this is, of course, a big connection here between Bilderberg and Trump. Steve Mnuchin, of course, was on board very early on, even during the campaign. This was played down by the most vicious, staunchest Trump supporters, and we reported at the time that Steve Mnuchin was bad news. And then we have Deutsche Bank. In 2017, at the Bilderberg meeting, we can expect at least one, more likely two, officials from Deutsche Bank, such as the regulars Paul Achleitner and John Krein. Officially, Deutsche Bank is keeping silent about their business relationship with Trump, but according to rumblings, Trump owes them $300 million spent on golf resorts and hotels. In the past, there was squabbling about payments, and now Deutsche Bank wants not personal guarantees any longer, but to take the properties in case the loans go foul. There is also the mystery of why Deutsche Bank looked the other way about Russians laundering money. Of course, the Kremlin does not run Deutsche Bank. Instead, it's possible intelligence agencies have been using the opportunity to lure in greedy Russians and recruit them. Next, the Carlyle Group. This is another very serious business. We have a story here from The Intercept. Donald Trump expected to pick shadow banker for key position at the Federal Reserve. So this is about a man called Randall Quarles. President Trump's expected nomination of Randall Quarles to the vice chair's role is about as close a guarantee as the shadow banking sector can get that the feds won't be bothering them anytime soon. So, the Federal Reserve's vice chair for supervision is arguably the most important financial regulator in the federal government. No agency has greater oversight responsibility of U.S. financial institutions than the Fed. And so, Quarles served 2 stints in the Treasury Department, both under Bush administrations, but afterward he moved to the Carlyle Group, $169 billion private equity giant, and of course, there's more hawks in Carlyle. So there we have another link between Donald Trump and Bilderberg. So Carlyle must be pretty happy with the president. But Carlyle has also been investing in media and thus could improve Trump's reputation. See here the story from The Guardian. Pentagon bankers may bail out Black Conrad. Black, who's in trouble and who owns a big newspaper. Now, Carlyle, which employs former Prime Minister John Major as a director, boasts George Bush Sr. and his Secretary of State James Baker as advisors, and is headed by Frank Carlucci, Ronald Reagan's defense secretary. Remember, Donald Trump wants to be the new Reagan. Has invested in media firms previously. The group once owned 40% of France's Le Figaro, which is also represented at Bilderberg, and more recently acquired part of French conglomerate Vivendi's publishing assets. Good. Very, very interesting. Then you have Peter Thiel, one of the earliest supporters and advisors of Trump, also sits in the Bilderberg steering committee. Now, he plays the nice globalist and previously supported Ron Paul. He even talked to demonstrators during the Bilderberg conference in Germany. So they confronted him and he actually spoke to them and he, paints himself as the nice globalist. He also said some mean things about Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Amazon is usually represented at Bilderberg. And according to Thiel, Bezos is the scary one and he's the nice one, but who knows with these guys, they're all kind of creepy. Next we have ExxonMobil. Exxon, previously owned by the Rockefellers, is the very definition of Bilderberg. Rex Tillerson became Trump's Secretary of State, and he was suggested by some very hardcore neocons. Now, of course, the current situation with Exxon is a bit more complicated. Now there's a lot of theater being played, and that means the Rockefellers have lost power. They're not this dynasty anymore. Mainly because they haven't had a lot of male followers in their clan, in their dynasty. So Exxon goes on, of course, and this is tied into Bilderberg, so we will see how that plays out. And next we have the HSBC Bank. The HSBC Bank, this important Bilderberg bank, expects serious growth through Trump. There's a story I have picked. So the HSBC is rather happy with Trump. And then we have David Petraeus, retired NATO hotshot, now with the KKR Global Institute, or represented at Bilderberg over the last few years. He was and still is considered for a top post in the Trump admin. So, now what does that mean? Bilderberg is split about Donald Trump's future. It means, first of all, that he has Trump has a relationship with the establishment, pretty serious one. And so Bilderberg, in about 10 days, 11 days time, 12 days time, they might decide that Trump has to go. Bilderberg might decide that Trump will stay. Now, of course, when you have Carlyle and all these people riding on the hawk theme, this, of course, could mean Trump has a future as president. But Bilderberg might as well decide that they're going with the vice president and some other puppet. And we will, of course, look at this year's membership list. We will do our annual, first time in English, we'll do our annual sorted and commented Bilderberg list, so you can see who these guys really are, what they've been doing, what they've been saying. so we can see who's coming and what they've been doing in the past, what they've been saying. And this might tell us something about the future of America and the world and Trump. But if Trump is removed, if he's forced to vacate his presidency, his spot, then of course we will keep looking at Trump. We will see what he will be doing after his presidency, if he gets rewarded, if he gets additional support from these Bilderberg partners. And that, of course, could mean that he was their guy all along, and he just staged the whole Russian thing, you know, with the CIA or some other group in order to fool the Russians, supply them with disinformation, and to cause chaos in Russia. Now, the chaos in the US right now with Trump and Russiagate is nothing compared to the chaos in Russia right now. Please, I refer you to the other video we've done the other day on this channel. Stay tuned for more Bilderberg info. We have a very interesting interview coming up with Mark Anderson, one of the experts on Bilderberg. If you support this channel, if you want to help us out, if you want to help us grow, we can do a regular live show. We can do all kinds of great stuff. Please support us on Patreon with the link below. Subscribe to this channel and spread our links, comment down below, and reach out to us if you have any request or want to see a certain video about a certain topic.